It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Rescue Towing, Command Family Medicine, and John's Heating and Air. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting out with temperatures in the 50s on this Monday morning. It is a warm start and it's going to be hot this afternoon. Mid 80s are in the forecast, 84 degrees, the forecasted high temperature today. So even though Halloween is this week, we are talking about some super warm temperatures in the Ozarks, and that's going to come along with a few more things that we'll dive into here in a minute. High winds across the Ozarks this morning. As you're waking up, we already have a south breeze that is noticeable. As the sun comes up and starts to warm us up, that's only going to get stronger. We've got winds gusty today with unseasonably warm temperatures, and we will be close to record highs in some communities. Basically, if you make it into the upper 80s today, you are setting a new record. And we are going to see these very warm temperatures continue with us again tomorrow. The country looks pretty inactive across the middle part of the area. However, we have high fire danger for much of the country today. All the activity and the snowfall with the cold temperatures is back well off to our west. The Pacific Northwest seeing some rainfall yesterday, higher elevation seeing some snowfall on Sunday, and that's going to expand in places like the Northern Rockies as we move into the course of the afternoon today. Here in the middle part of the country, our big headline is that we have a strong south wind, so strong, in fact, that you'll notice it even on the highway today, gusting to 40 miles an hour. That's what's going to be possible as we head through the course of the afternoon. So keep in mind, winds out of the south, 25 to 45 miles an hour with some of those wind gusts. It's going to be taking down some of these leaves that are gorgeous, but hanging on by a thread in a few places. The highest wind gusts will be focused kind of along and west of Highway 65. So places like Nevada, Joplin, all the way down into McDonald County, that's where we're going to see the highest gusts of winds. This also means potential for high fire danger, significant fire danger possible across the region today. Burn bans are in effect for many counties. And even if you're not under a burn ban, I strongly advise no burning today. It's not a good setup for it at all. We have really low relative humidity, a dry ground, strong winds. It's a perfect combination for things to just take off and get out of hand a little bit too quickly. We are talking about elevated to significant fire danger across the Ozarks. That's going to be the case today in the Ozarks with the worst conditions today in the western Ozarks. Tomorrow, it may be worse in our eastern counties. We still have the high winds. We still have the warm temperatures, and humidity, once again, is around 30 to 40%, which is very low. The air is dry. So not a good setup for us today or tomorrow. The other news in the forecast is that we do have a pattern change heading our way, and that comes on Wednesday. It's also going to arrive on Thursday. I know everyone's looking at that all-important Halloween forecast, and it does look like we're going to get a significantly cooler weather pattern for the second half of the week. And there's also some widespread rainfall in this forecast, which is great news. But we may be dealing with a little bit of that on Halloween. At least right now, it looks like most of the rain showers and thunderstorms will arrive Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening. And then showers should end or wrap up and get out of here by mid-morning on Halloween. So hopefully that trick-or-treat forecast is going to remain dry. First half of the week and second half of the week, totally opposite here, though. We've got the high fire danger, the gusty winds Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, we see a drop in temperatures. Frontal boundary comes through. It's going to mean that our highs fall to the 60s, low 60s on Halloween with low temperatures in the 40s. So it is looking cold on Halloween night. If you're still kind of putting together the costumes or thinking about ideas, factor in the extra layers for the kids, either underneath the costume or on top. You might need to add a jacket because it does look like it's going to be rather chilly this year. High temperature in the 60s, low temperature down in the low 40s. So kind of cold conditions for Halloween with some rain expected in the morning. Around the country, I told you about some of that snowfall for the Northern Rockies. There's also elevated fire weather conditions for much of the Midwest and also the Northeast portions of New England, seeing really high fire danger conditions. Also, rainfall for Hawaii over the weekend. It's resulting in some flooding there this morning. So anybody escaping the fall in the Midwest out in Hawaii, dealing with a whole lot of rain showers, unfortunately. All right, it's time for the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister Trivia question for the day. And the question is, which U.S. president told a group of school kids that the White House is haunted by the ghost of Abraham Lincoln? Who does it sound like would do such a thing? Do you think it is A, John F. Kennedy, B, Richard Nixon, C, George H.W. Bush, or D, Donald Trump? There are many tales in the White House of, hauntings happening, and the ghost of Abraham Lincoln is by far the most famous spirit and the story that is told the most because a longtime White House employee, Jerry Smith, he described that the ghost of Lincoln, he had an encounter with it apparently. And his story was shared in a 1903 newspaper article. Ever since then, that story has kind of floated around. But who was it that got up when school kids were visiting and said this? Well, it is C, George H.W. Bush. Uh, he and Barbara welcomed everyone to the White House for a Halloween spectacular, and he chose to go into a ghost story. This was on Halloween in 1989. He said, "How many of you believe in ghosts? They say there's a ghost in this old house. The most famous one, is Abraham Lincoln." So he told hundreds of school kids that the White House was haunted by the ghost of Abe Lincoln. If you chose C, George H.W. Bush, that is correct. Here's your next chance to win our Brain Twister trivia question, also about Halloween. True or false? A 50-50 shot on this one. True or false? It has never snowed on Halloween in Springfield, Missouri. Do you think that is true or false? Do you remember a time that this has happened? You can head on over to the website to submit your guess and enter to win our Brain Twister trivia question. I want to thank our sponsors, Rescue Towing, Command Family Medicine, and John's Heating and Air for sponsoring Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather. And thank you for starting your new work week with us. It's a fun week. Halloween is always a fun time in the Ozarks. The leaves are looking gorgeous. It will be very windy today, though, so lots of leaves falling across the Ozarks today. Have a great day. We'll chat again early tomorrow.